Hari Om. Let us chant the first 10 verses of chapter 7. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashraya Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Jnasyasi Tashrinu Jnanam Teham Savijnanam Idam Vakshyamya Sheshataha Yajñatva Neha Bhuyonyat Jnatavyam Avasishyate Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschedhyatati Siddhaye Yatataamapi Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha Bhumirapo Nalo Vayuhu Kham Mano Buddhireva Cha Ahankara iti yam me Bhinna Prakritirashtadha Apareyamitastvanyam Prakritim Vidhi me param Jiva Bhuta Mahabaho Yayedam Dharyate Jagat Yetat Yonini Bhutani Sarvani Tyupadharaya Aham Krishnasya Jagataha Prabhava Pralayasthatha Matta Parhataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya Mahi Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Manigana Iva Rasohamapsu Kaunteya Prabhasmi Sashi Suryayoho Pranavas Sarva Vedeshu Shabdhake Paurusham Rishu Punyo Gandha Prathivyam Cha Tejaschasmi Vibhavasau Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu Tapaschasmi Tapasvishu Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam Vidhi Partha Sanatanam Buddhir Buddhimatamasmi Tejas Tejasvinanamaham.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Continuing verse number 3, he says, this is a very rare knowledge and very few have it, very few strive for it, and amongst those who strive for it, very few get it. So he's talking about how rare is this knowledge. Talking about it as rare is nothing but a psychological attempt to impress you to pursue it. That's all. The psychological approach, no, an emotional thing. Because if you say The general human psychology is you always want to have something which others don't have, or very few people have it. What they call as premium edition, premium version, and there is a price for that, because anything rare, the human mind has an attraction to it. So something is common, everybody has it, is not that attractive. And if it is something very rare, and the person would be interested in pursuing it. Therefore, in that sense, he is saying it is it's a rare knowledge. While others are busy pursuing so many other things, very few pursues this. While everybody else is pursuing something, everybody is busy. Everybody is busy. Everybody is pursuing something or the other. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya akarmakrit. So nobody is keeping quiet. Everybody is doing something everybody is pursuing something or the other. What are the pursuits? In Sanskrit, it's called dharma, artha, kama. In English, it's called acquisition and enjoyment. In Sanskrit, it's called artha, kama. In English, it's called acquisition and enjoyment. So everyone is busy acquiring for enjoyment. Everyone is busy acquiring for enjoyment. So artha means wealth, kama means desires. So everybody is acquiring something so that they can enjoy. So everybody is doing that in their own way. The difference is what? All human beings are doing that, and all human beings are doing it in their own way. Filtering process is happening here. So it's a filtering process. So all are pursuing acquisition and enjoyment, artha kama. Technically, in English, it's called, in Sanskrit, it's called artha and kama. Artha means wealth, kama means fulfillment of desire. And what is kama? These are all the basics you should remember by now. And every class, wherever we get a chance, we keep reminding it also. Kama means raga, dvesha. Raga means seeking that which is pleasant. Dvesha means avoiding that which is unpleasant. So you acquire wealth for seeking that which is pleasant. You acquire wealth for that which is unpleasant. When you are 30 and 40, you acquire wealth for house, enjoyment, fees, family, etc. At 60 and 70, you acquire wealth for, you want to save your wealth for medical bills. That's all. So you want wealth at one point of time for something else. That is raga. At another point of time, you need wealth for dvesha, because you want something at one point of time, you don't want something at another point of time. So both requires wealth. Simple. So raga means seeking that which is pleasant and which you don't have. That is raga. You don't have it, and you believe that it will give you happiness and you want it. That is called raga. You believe it will give happiness, you don't have it, and you make an effort to get it. This is called raga. And what is dvesha? Something you don't want or something you want to get rid of. That is dvesha. Either you don't want something or you want to get rid of it. Nowadays, cancer cover, isn't it? Cancer cover. I'm not saying don't take or take a, please. That is your that's your thing. I'm not saying take it or don't take it. So you don't want it. Are you able to follow? You don't want it and you protect yourself against that. So all that in life, what you do, raga and dvesha. For this raga and dvesha, you acquire wealth. You can call it as financial planning. You can call it an intelligent way of living. You can call it as doing, any word you can use. But it boils down to everybody's pursuing these two, artha kama. And then the first filter comes. What is the first filter? Instead of pursuing artha kama in whatever way they want, acquisition and enjoyment, instead of pursuing acquisition and enjoyment in whatever they want, you bring in some principles that is guiding it. That is called dharma. So filtering process starts. Filter panni, he is going to come and say, this guy is the best. Yeah. So I'm just going through the filtering process. Nushyanam sahasreshu kaschit dadati siddhaye. That's what the verses say. Yeah. Verse ஞாபகம் இருக்குல்ல? We all know which verse we are studying, no? In the verse, in the chapter. Suddenly you started, sir, we don't know what verse it is. You can't start like that. How we will know where we are? How can you start like that? So at least you should have that courtesy to tell us which verse, no? That is minimum. You don't know how to teach also. Yeah, simply you start. Chapter 7, verse number 3. Manushyanam sahasreshu. So he's filtering. Now what is that filtration process is what I am elaborating. So first is the general. What is the general? Everybody seeking acquisition and enjoyment, artha and kama. And then comes the first filtration process. What is the first filtration process? Not acquiring in whatever way you want, and that acquisition is guided by some dharma, some principles. Some principles guide that acquisition and enjoyment. When that principles guide acquisition and enjoyment, it's called dharma. What is the definition of dharma? The values, the principles, the law that should govern and guide your acquisition and enjoyment. Majority are running behind artha kama, and then the first filtration process comes in dharma, and then comes, after pursuing dharma, way of acquisition and enjoyment, a kind of another filtration process starts. What is that filtration process? That filtration process is very few get interested in moksha. Very few get interested in moksha. So first filtration is from artha kama to dharma. Second filtration is from dharma artha kama to moksha. And now filtration starts in moksha itself. So who's left behind? Dharma artha kama people are all left behind, and he's talking about, and he's filtering those interested in moksha. Number of people wanting moksha is few. Amongst them, very few understand what moksha is. Amongst them, very few understand what moksha is. And those who are interested in that, they don't know where to go and get it. Therefore, they try all kinds of things for getting this knowledge of what moksha is and what gives moksha. What is the rarity? The rarity here is, it is what moksha is clearly defined. What is the path to get there is clearly defined. Having gotten this also, if a person misses, what to do? Yeah, that's a different filtration altogether. Yeah, that filtration process we can't. Able to follow the sequence? Very few want moksha. Of that very few that want moksha, very few understand actually what moksha is. Lot of knowledge is required even to understand what moksha is. Because everybody has their own definitions of moksha, isn't it? 9 o'clock our moksha, 7:45 our bondage starts, 9 o'clock our moksha comes. That is if I finish at 9 o'clock. Yeah, that is one kind of moksha. That is one kind of moksha. Everybody has their own notions of what liberation is. Everybody has their own misunderstanding of what liberation is. And you cannot go by your definitions of moksha. You cannot go by your misunderstanding, your notions of moksha. So, very few actually wants to know what moksha is. And then you read so many people coming and telling you so many things for moksha. Whether they define moksha or not, everybody gives you the path for moksha. Everybody gives their own path for moksha. Somebody says just do breathing in and breathing out, that is enough for moksha. That's all you got to do. Don't do all these things. Another person comes and says just do chanting. That's all that is. Nothing else you can do. Another person will come and say just Sankirtan. That's all. In the age of Kali, it is said very clearly that only Nama Sankirtan will take you to moksha. And you have to ask him what moksha is. That you will not ask because you yourself don't know what. You yourself don't know what moksha is, or you already believe what moksha is. What is moksha? Freedom from ignorance is moksha. You ask anybody, what is moksha? Freedom from suffering, sir. The wife causes suffering, you divorce, you attain moksha or what? Isn't it? The family causes suffering, you run away from the family, do you attain moksha? So what is the definition of moksha? People say moksha means freedom from pain and suffering. Another person will say freedom means, moksha means freedom from punarjanma, sir. Punarjanma, as though you have understood what punarjanma is. Another person will say moksha means freedom from all mental agitations. Free. Everybody has their own understanding of what moksha is. And here it is very clearly spelled out. What is moksha? Moksha is freedom from ignorance. Ajnana nivritti is moksha. Freedom from ignorance is moksha. For it is ignorance that is the cause of punarjanma, that it is ignorance that is cause of the mental agitations, it is ignorance that is the cause of everything. Therefore, what is moksha? Moksha is freedom from ignorance. But I am not ignorant, no, sir. Therefore, I am in moksha already. For everything we have for everything we have an answer, isn't it? For correct. But it means I am not ignorant. It means I should be in moksha already because I have knowledge already. Give us a chance and speak, sir. Give us a chance to speak. Then you will know how much of knowledge we all have. So what is moksha? Freedom from ignorance. And what is ignorance? What is ignorance? Wrong identification. Ignorance is wrong identification. That's all. What is it? Wrong identification. Instead of saying I am the self, you say I am the body. Instead of saying I am the self, you say I am the mind. Instead of saying I am the self, you say I am the intellect. That is ignorance. That's what ignorance is. And out of this ignorance comes Yeah. That is a fundamental problem. Out of this problem comes many other branches of it. In Vedanta, we don't worry so much about the branches. We go to the root. Go to the root and attend to the root. Rest goes away by itself. So very few are interested in moksha. In the right understanding of moksha is nothing but removal of ignorance. Bodhonya sadhane yogi sakshan mokshaika sadhanam pakasya vahniva jnanam vina moksho na siddhyati. It's very clear. Atma Bodha, verse number Sakshan mokshaika sadhanam. There is only one means for liberation, that is knowledge. That's why every other week I keep asking this question. Of the very many ways to remove darkness, light is one method. Of the very many ways to remove darkness, we are all very liberal people, sir. We are not fanatics like you people, because you keep saying knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. You are all very fanatics. We are all not fanatics, because we know what? There are many ways to remove darkness. Of the very many ways to remove darkness, one method is also light. Correct? Correct? Yes or no? No. Correct. Very correct. You are wrong, sir. Yeah, you are wrong. For there is only one way to remove darkness, and that is light. For you can't sweep the darkness away, you can't blow the darkness away, you can't talk about light and remove the. You can't talk about light in the darkness, isn't it? You can't talk about light and remove the darkness away. The only way to remove darkness is to bring in the light. And how to bring in the light? Again, there is a problem. And everybody comes and says, we have our own method of bringing in light. And what are the very many ways of bringing in light? One person says, breathe in and breathe out, light will come. Another person will say, sit with your eyes closed and focus on your, I don't know. Yeah. As it is, your mind is a chakra. And then there are extra 6 chakras also in the body, isn't it? Mind or chakra going in spinning. And then there are extra chakras also. So focus on these chakras, light will come. Here, he has said very clearly, what is the way to gain this knowledge? What is the way to gain this knowledge? I myself will tell you, don't worry. Yeah. Tadviddhi, know that. Tadviddhi, know that. How? Pranipatena, pariprashnena, sevaya. Padekshente te jnanam, jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. In the Upanishad, sir, this comes in which Upanishad? Guru, which Upanishad this is? Most of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, you can say. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 34. Bhagavad Gita, verse number 4, chapter 4, verse number 34. Tadviddhi, know that. So directly he said it. Know that. Know that. By what? Tadviddhi, know that. Pranipatena, pariprashnena, sevaya, upadekshyante tu jnanam. They will come and, who will come and teach you? Tattva darshinaha. Those who have known the truth will come and teach you. Sunday class tuition teacher you will get a proper Tattva Darshinaha will come and teach. What do they teach you? The process. They will teach you what moksha is, and they will teach you what? The path to get there. But if I'm not interested in moksha, sir, even then they will not leave you. They will expose the limitations of dharma, artha, kama, and plant the desire to gain moksha. That's why they are so beautiful. It's not that they wait for you to. It's not that they wait for you to come. If they wait for you to come, we will never come. When we will come? Yeah, because we are so busy. No, we are so busy. When we will come, we will never come. So what they do, even if you are not interested in moksha, kama dharma, they will come and talk about the utility of all these, the uselessness of all this. When we say futility, uselessness, please understand limitations of these. They talk about the limitations of these and they plant the desire for moksha. So if you have a desire, your starting point is very high. If you don't have the desire, they will plant the desire. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. It means what? What is the way to gain knowledge? Guru, Upadesha, Shravana, Manana, Vididhyasana, and following the path. Such a person is very rare. Rule of stories, don't forget the verse, because we are not discussing Pranipatena, Pariprashnena, Sevayana, we are not discussing. All that the person has done, and such a person is rare. Such a person is rare. And to that rare person, I am going to give a beautiful knowledge from now on. To that rare person, I am going to give a beautiful knowledge from now on. That is the verses. So, the way to moksha means ignorance. Moksha means ignorance. Siddhaye, they have attained some stability. Siddhaye means one who have attained some stability are called siddhas. What is the stability they have got? Again, knowledge. What is the knowledge? What knowledge they got? Insecurity is not a fact. Insecurity is a notion of the mind. Insecurity is not a fact. Insecurity is a notion, means imagination. It's an imaginary notion of the mind. Those who have attained the growth, whom he calls as whom is siddhaye, those who are established, what did they understand? They understood one thing. What is it? The insecurity that you have is nothing but an imaginary. It's an imaginary notion. Since it is an imaginary notion, and any imaginary notion can go through knowledge alone. And the freedom from notions comes from knowledge. Are you able to follow? So, very important is to say, what is this? What is it that they are feeling secure? There is no insecurity at all in them. Why? Because they have understood insecurity is not because of what I have or what I don't have. Insecurity has got nothing to do with what I have, or insecurity has got nothing to do with what I don't have. Insecurity is not because of I'm going to die, or insecurity is not anything. What all notions that people believe that gives them insecure, knowledge comes and says, these are not the reasons for your insecurity. Then what causes insecurity? Ignorance. It's a wrong notion, insecurity. So siddhis means one who are established in this knowledge. How did they establish? By properly making the effort. Yatati. Yatati means one who is striving in the proper direction. One who is striving in the proper direction. Now, what is striving in the proper direction? Verse number 34, chapter 4. Reference which it becomes easy. What is striving properly means according to verse number 34, chapter 4. If you are doing that, you are on the right path. And you become a very rare person. You become a very rare person. You become a very rare person Not only you become a very rare person, the knowledge that you have also makes it very, very rare. Striving in the right direction. Striving in the right direction. What is striving in the right direction? Striving in the right direction is knowing where the problem is and attacking that. That is striving in the right direction. What is right direction? What is striving in the right direction means? Striving in the right direction means knowing where the problem is and solving it there. Wrong direction is problem is elsewhere and you are looking for a solution elsewhere. Upanishad gives a beautiful example. Like the lady searching for the needle in the street light. The old lady searching for the needle in the street light. So another lady came and asked, "What are you doing here?" I'm searching for the needle here. So what do you mean you are searching for the needle? How? Why are you searching for the needle here? Did you lose it? Here. No. I lost it in the house. The needle is lost in the house, but why are you searching here? What a foolish lady. You can search where there is light only, no? Are you able to follow? Are you able to follow the logic? Saying, I lost it there, but you are foolish. Where will you search? Where there is light. And popularity is the light with which we search. Now, what are all the lights under which we search? First light is popularity. There. How popular it is. More popular, na? It's more right. Less popular, na? Not so much. Nobody knows about it, na? That is useless. It is useless. Striving means knowing where the problem is. They have understood where the problem is. Where the problem is in internal, not in external. The problem is internal, full stop. But sir, politicians, Afghanistan situation, accidents, abuse, raping, all that external, no? Siddhanam api means yatadam api siddhanam. That's the verse, no? Yatadam api siddhanam. It means they know those. Siddhanam here means those who knew how to strive in the right direction. They knew how to strive in the right direction. And they knew they are striving in the right direction because they knew what is the right direction. What is the right direction? It is internal and never external. It's internal and never external. This is the impossible point to cross. When I say impossible means the very difficult point to cross over is it is not external, it is internal. The most difficult point to cross over is the sand. Because we say either we say it is external or we say both, sir. Or we say both. Why can't you, why are you blaming us only all the time? Why don't you blame the person next to me also? I can't blame the person sitting next to you. No, it is you only. How can you blame that person sitting next to you? Story. Yeah. I can't blame the person. It is. And it's true for the other person also. Huh? Now she look at Shailesh and say, now see, sir is saying correctly. You are the cause for everything. The same thing holds good too for the other person also. So what is it? It is internal and never external. And very few people are discovering this inner security. All of them are seeking security from outside. Very few people are interested in discovering the inner security, while everybody is searching in the external security. And what does knowledge say? Very few, carefully follow, very few people succeeded in finding the inner security. Nobody ever succeeded in finding the external security. Yatatam api siddhanam. Very few have succeeded here, Arjuna. But where you are searching, nobody has ever succeeded. It means from the beginning, your efforts are in the wrong direction. The direction being wrong, the efforts become futile. They will follow. The direction being wrong, the efforts become futile. So it is not the futile effort. The efforts are turning futile because the direction is wrong. So very beautifully he concludes this verse. Very few have succeeded in this method, Arjuna, what I am teaching. But in the way that you are trying, nobody has ever succeeded. In the method, in the way that you are trying, does anybody throw up their arms and say, I am fulfilled, I am happy, I am contented, I am free? Will anybody say that? Nobody will say that. In that sense, nobody finds security by your method. At least in my method, a few have attained, few have succeeded. And of the few who have succeeded, I am one, he said. Of the few who have succeeded, I am that one. Since I am the one who has succeeded, I na yaar? Krishna, the self. Since I am the one who has succeeded, whatever I say becomes knowledge, whatever I say becomes the pramanam. Whatever I say becomes knowledge, whatever I say becomes the pramanam. So he starts from the totality, and then the filtration, and then the filters, and then the filters, and then the filters, and then the filters, and finally came to that one person. Manushyanam sahasreshu. That one. Now, how does the filter work? On the filtration, last week we couldn't talk about this filtration a lot. Therefore, I thought let us talk about the filtration today. And then he's saying, I am giving you that knowledge. Since I have succeeded in knowing what the truth is, since I have succeeded in knowing what the reality is, I am going to talk about God. We saw already from chapter 7, the discussion will be more about the God, the attributes of God, and the two forms. And where do we get the two forms? In 4, 5, and 6, Krishna himself is going to say, this is the lower form, this is the higher form. From that, we gave the introduction saying there are two things. Yatatam api siddhanam. These people who are striving in the right direction, they have understood the problem is internal. You need them, but they can't give you security. You need wealth, but wealth cannot give you security. You need a house, but house cannot give security. Why? Maintenance, no? Isn't it? Every 3 years it has to be painted. Every few years, everything has to be changed. Gadgets keep breaking. So you need it, but you understand that none of this will provide security. So very few people have understood what The insecurity is internal and it can never be overcome by anything external. And therefore they change the direction. That is the right direction. And when they change the right direction, what they followed? They followed verse number 34, chapter 4. They followed that. Advidya pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshante tu jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. They will come and teach you and simply understand, make an effort to understand what they say, and that understanding will give you the motivation to practice. Practice comes out of understanding. Practice comes out of understanding. So if you are having a difficulty in practice, means somewhere you didn't understand it properly. I have understood it very rightly, sir, but practice the varmatendra. I'm only not able to practice it, but understanding wise I have. No, you have not understood. You have only memorized. Don't misunderstand memorizing as understanding. Don't misunderstand memorizing as understanding. It is like you can memorize the mathematical formula, but you will never know how to solve the problem. You will never know how to practice it because you have only memorized it. Isn't it? So many people do that, no? They will by heart the formulas. In and there, they can practice little bit here and there also. 50-60% they can manage. But the true knowledge, they never have. Therefore, you try to understand what they say, and more the understanding, better the practice. Or practice indicates that your understanding is very poor. Practice indicates your understanding is very, very poor. Therefore, go back to understanding. Go back to understanding. And understanding happens through Shravana, Manana. We have to come back. And if I don't say these two words, I cannot, I will not have sleep. I can't sleep that night. So you come back to Shravana and Manana. World is not the cause for problems, sir. Yes, I understand this. I go out of this. Thank you. And we close the video. And we go out of the class, or we close the video. The external is causing trouble. Here I am trying to say this is not the cause for it. The external is not the cause. The internal is the cause. You try that. You say, you try doing that. And you get more angry at the, and when you say that, you get more angry at the external. Isn't it? Why? Because not enough manana is done on these concepts. So once you understand these concepts, practice becomes effortless. Practice is backed by a sound theoretical knowledge. It is the sound theoretical knowledge that brings about practice. Or you practice only to understand how sound you are in the theorem. When I say theoretical knowledge means theorems, we mean. We don't mean no. That's why in this classroom we don't segregate knowledge as theory and practice. All that you are saying is fine, sir, but practically people start questioning, isn't it? If you have observed all the questions, it will have this flavor. But practically, go back to the theorems. And what is that practice? Verse number 4, chapter 4, verse 34. We move on to verse number 4. One second. Yes.
Those who strive in the right direction, do they understand that ignorance is the cause for my whatever it is? So I have to, therefore I'm striving in the direction of the ignorance for the removal of the ignorance. understand.
Yes, correct. What she's saying is she's clarifying that those who strive in the right direction means those who strive in removal of ignorance. Hmm?
Mm.
Whose ignorance?
Comes on it.
Wife's ignorance, children's ignorance, mother-in-law ignorance, father-in-law ignorance. Whose ignorance? One's own ignorance. Shankar, correct? We are also striving, sir, but we are trying to remove the ignorance of others. We are trying to remove. We are also working on ignorance only, but we are working on the ignorance of others. Here he says, whose ignorance? Your own? Ignorance is one's own. Correct? Are you okay?
No, you're not.
Yes.
அந்த லைட் வந்துட்டு நீங்க லைட்டோட எக்ஸாம்பிள் பாப்புலாரிட்டின்னு கொடுத்தேன் அங்க நேம் ஃபேம் வெல்த் பொசிஷன் ஸ்டேட்டஸ் அதெல்லாம் கூட வெச்சுக்கலாமா லைட் இன்டு தட் ஐ அம் சர்ச்சிங் தேர் ஆல்சோ இன்ஸ்டெட் ஆஃப் இன் தி ரைட்.
Yes, she is saying wrong direction people are searching. The light, like the lady. What is the light? Name, fame, power, position, status, wealth, family. This is where everybody is searching. Where they have lost it is somewhere. And where are they searching it? They are searching it in this 7. Correct. You can say that. You are right in saying that. Yes.
இப்போ மெமரைசிங் வந்துட்டு எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் லெட் அஸ் டேக் மைண்ட். So I am asking question, what is mind and what are its subdivision, and I am also going into the analysis of the subdivision. All this I am doing and I am able to also come up with the answer when you are asking me what is it. Kama krodha lobha adoda idellame varudhu. Now what else is there to understand? Having
Go
said all
over
this-
it again and again and again.
So this is memory, yeah.
This is memory.
Ah.
From the memory, you bring it back and go over it again and again. Repetitive. We defined mananam. What is mananam? Repetition. It is not just repetition, because if it is just repetition, it is memory. Analytical repetition is mananam. Repeating the analysis again and again and again is called manana. Why in this classroom? Why throughout the Gita they keep going over the analysis again and again and again? It is the analysis that is important here. So analytical repetition, not just the repetition. Because when I say mind means this, likes and dislikes, raga means this, dvesha means this, like a tape recorder, I can repeat and nothing I would have registered inside. So manana is reflecting, analysis, going over the analysis again and again and again. We move on to verse number 4. சரியா? Unmute பண்ணிக்கணும்.
भूमिरापो नलो वायुः खं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहंकार इति ह्यं मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा भूमिरापो नलो वायुः खं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहंकार इति ह्यं मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा.
Earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intellect, and also ego. Such is the eightfold division of my Prakriti, nature. Earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intellect, and ego. Such is the eightfold division of my Prakriti. Now, what is he saying? He said, I will give you the knowledge of God. And when I give you the knowledge of God, I will give it to you with lower Prakriti and higher Prakriti. Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. Saguna Ishvara and Nirguna Ishvara. I will give both. Then only the knowledge is complete. Then only the knowledge is complete. So I'm going to give you both. I'm not only going to say this is, I'm not only going to say it is only Nirguna and ignore Saguna. Nor am I going to say it is only Saguna and ignore Nirguna. I am going to give you both. So in this verse, he is talking about the Prakriti, which is in the eightfold. And then in the next verse, he will say, he brings about the distinction and say, that which you saw earlier is lower Prakriti. And now I am going to talk about my higher Prakriti. So I have two. And then the lower and higher, he will go on to describe. He will go into the beautiful description. And as I said, in the beginning itself, that from chapter 7 to chapter 12, you will keep hearing again and again and again, I am in this, I am in this, I am in this, I am this, I am in this, I am this. The way in which chapter 2 to 6 have to be explained a lot. 7 to 12, there is nothing much to explain. Because he keeps saying the same thing. I am in this, I am in this, I am in this, I am this, I am this, I am in this. He keeps repeating the same thing right up to chapter 12. Both. So he talks about he uses three or two pairs he uses. Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti, Saguna and Nirguna. So we got to be very clear in knowing these two words. To understand this, we have to be very clear with these two words. What are the two words? Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. Para means, Apara means lower Prakriti. Para means higher. Saguna and Nirguna. And here he is going to talk about both. In all these chapters, he is going to talk about both. In this verse, he is talking about the lower Prakriti. In this verse, he is going to talk about the lower Prakriti. What is he saying? Earth, water, fire, air, space. The Panchabhutas. The Panchabhutas, the macrocosm. Mind, intellect, ego, the microcosm. Such is the eightfold division of me. Such is the eightfold division of me. And this Prakriti is made up of 5 elements. Body is made up of blood, bones, veins. That is one way of looking at it. It's all neurons firing and everything is happening is another way of looking at it. Vedantic way of looking at it is the base material. What is the base material with which everything is made up of? The base material with which everything is made up of is the 5 elements. And you should not be, just now we finished. Just now, no, last year. Just now, no, last year we finished. Atma Bodha. In that Atma Bodha, verse number 13 and 14, we did the Panchikarana. We did the Panchikarana. So we did those Panchikarana divisions. That's what is referring to here. Or we should say the otherwise. What he said here, Shankaracharya elaborated it in Atma Bodha. That's why studying a book like Atma Bodha becomes easy. Studying a book like Atma Bodha becomes, because there he spoke about the Panchikarana. Panchikarana means how the subtle turns into gross. When it is grossified, the elements are called bhutas. When they are in the subtle form, they are called mahabhutas. Now, see all these terms and terminologies you are supposed to know, because we'll be referring to these terminologies from now on a lot. From now on, we'll be referring to this because he's going to use it again and again and again. Chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 12. He keeps using all this. Since he is using all this, we need to know some basic terms. So gross elements and subtle elements. Both are elements. Both are elements. Gross elements and subtle elements. The subtle elements goes to form the subtler aspect. The gross elements makes to form the grosser aspect. What are the gross element and subtle element? Elements are the 5. There is no grosser elements in a distinct separate list of that 5 and separate list of this 5. It is not that. The same 5 elements, at one level it is grosser, at another level it is subtler. So first thing, first anatomical study about matter. Why we have to study this anatomical study about matter? Human being equals, what is the formula of a human being? Spirit plus matter. If you say human being is spirit plus matter, you ought to know what matter is. You can't say it doesn't matter. You have to know it. Yeah. Knowing it, you have to ignore it. Anyway, if I'm going to ignore it, why bother about it? Krishna here is saying, you can't ignore it. Why you can't ignore it? Why you can't ignore it? That is also me. Ignoring that is ignoring me. Because I am also in that. That's why you can't ignore it. Are you able to follow? You can't ignore. You need to genuinely, with all devotion and dedication, sincerity, study about that also. Why? Because I am that. Isn't it? Such is the eightfold division of my Prakriti. Therefore, matter is also, in a way, matter is also me. In a way, matter is also me. But when you are looking at matter, you don't see me. That is the problem. When you are looking at matter, if you can see me, you are all right. But then when you look at the matter, you are not seeing. You are not seeing me. Therefore, we with lot of devotion and dedication, sincerity, we study about the matter also. We don't ignore it as irrelevant. We don't say why talk about. We don't say that. Why? Because it is me. But it is lower. Why can't we go to higher straight away? No, you can't come to higher. You can't come to higher straight away. You can't come to higher straight away. Therefore, we study this. So what is it? The gross and the subtle matter together constitute the lower nature of Brahman. The gross and subtle matter together constitute the gross and subtle matter. What is that process we saw? The Panchikarana. It's called Tanmatras. These words and all looks very, yes, where in some Janma looks like the Tanmatras in their pure nascent form. And then they split. And then they split. And they split and they combine with one and they combine with one another. They split and they combine with one another. And when they combine with one another, what it means is at any point of time, all 5 are there in a grosser form and in the subtler form. So whether it is in the grosser form or in the subtler form, it is me. It is me only. That is lower. That he calls it as lower Prakriti. Verse number 5.
अपरेयमितस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगत् अपरेयमितस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगत्.
This is the lower, but different from it, O Mahabaho, know my higher Prakriti, nature, the life element by which this universe is supported. This is the lower, but different from it, O Mahabaho, know my higher Prakriti, the life element by which this universe is supported. So what is the lower? The 5 elements, the macrocosm, and the 5 elements in the microcosm. And in the microcosm, there is a grosser aspect and the subtler aspect. And what is the grosser aspect and subtler aspect? The physical body is made up of the 5 gross elements, and the subtle body is also made up of the same 5. The subtle body is also made up of the same 5 elements. And what is the subtle body made up of? Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara. He listed out that. And what is mind? Passions and emotions, feelings and impulses, likes and dislikes. I'm not elaborating all this because this listing, it is listed out in the text. It is listed out in the text. What is the mind made up of? Passions and emotions, feelings and impulses, likes and dislikes, doubts and indecision. This is of the mind. And what is the intellect? The intellect is reasoning, analysis, discriminates, judges, and decides. The third factor is ahankara. What is the ahankara? Ahankara is that which unites these two and say, I am doubting, I have clarity. That which unites all this into that I. That is called ahankara. This is as far as the lower prakriti is concerned. Doubts are mine, clarity is mine. That is ahankara. Doubts are mine and clarity is mine. Therefore, distinct and different from mind and intellect is that the third entity that is arrogating everything to itself. That is called that arrogating, possessing factor is called ego. This is my lower prakriti. That is also me. I'm only doing that. I am that. I am in that. I'm only doing that. This is my lower prakriti. If we have stopped with that, no problems. Yeah, if he had only stopped with verse number 4 and went on to say, I am in this, I am in this, I am in this, there's no problem. And where he brings in the knowledge is aparaha iyam itaha. This is lower. Different from it. Anyam prakritim. Anyam prakriti. Anyam prakriti means different from it. Different from it, O Arjuna, know my another prakriti, higher prakriti. Anyam prakriti. Anyam prakriti means higher prakriti. What we call as paraprakriti. So he calls it as apara prakriti, and he doesn't use the word para prakriti, but we bring in the word para because he only says different from that is my higher nature. Param prakriti. Yeah, he uses param prakriti. Para prakriti. Paraprakriti, Apara Prakriti. And this Apara Prakriti is Saguna. Apara Prakriti is Saguna and Para Prakriti is Nirguna. So you have to make a connection. What is my higher Prakriti? The life element, Jiva Bhutam, by which this universe is supported. Jagat Dharayate. I am the universe and I support the universe. Look at that. That's what he said. I am the universe and I support the universe. Wherever Krishna says, it's my Prakriti, we understand it as Brahman. You can say Krishna also, it's not wrong, because Krishna and Brahman is one and the same. If Ramatirtha says, I have two nature, he is correct. Because Brahman and Ramatirtha is one and the same. Therefore, all enlightened masters it is my Prakriti. It is my Prakriti. So, what is it that is said here? The bhutas, the elements are there. The very fact that they are called elements, by themselves, they don't have any sentiency to it. So I give vitality to that. So I give vitality to that. Life-giving force. It is called as the life-giving force. Lot of doubts will come. Don't worry. We will take up all the doubts. We will clear. We will clear all these doubts. Doubts should not come because we have studied the preparatory textbooks very clearly. Doubts should not come, but doubts will come. So no problem. So we will take up all the doubts and we will clear it. A brief revisiting the fundamental concepts. Revisiting the fundamental concepts becomes very important. Verse number 4 and 5 is talking about the creation and the world. He's talking about the creation and he's talking about the world. For any creation, for something to be created, we understand two are required. I will touch upon it and don't worry. The next class, I will be starting with this analysis only. But then I'm just touching upon it. And next class also will continue with the same analysis. So, the cause for the creation is I am the cause, he's saying. Creation. I created. So, what is the karana for the entire prapancha, for the entire universe, multiverse, anything you can call? The Upanishads, the Vedas, and Krishna follows the same line of thinking, for he is not saying anything different from the Upanishadic explanations. And what does the Upanishad says? The Jagat Karan, the cause for everything is Brahman. And we understand that creation has two causes. For something to be created, you need two. What are the two causes for creation? One is the material cause, upadana karana. Another is nimitta karana. Nimitta means skill and intelligence. One is for something to be created, you need two. What are the two? Upadana karana and nimitta karana. Upadana karana means material cause. Nimitta karana means skill and intelligence. Pot is created. The pot is that which is created. Ornament is that which is created. You buy a lump of gold and keep it. Next day, it turns into an ornament. You buy a lump of clay and keep. Next morning, Ganesha will come out of it. We all did Ganesh Puja, no? Did anybody do? Did. Very good. Correct. So we had a Ganesha idol, isn't it? Clay. Clay is the Upadana Karana for the material cause, and then the second cause. That alone is not enough, because clay by itself doesn't form into an idol Ganesha. So skill and intelligence goes with it. So for every creation has two things. From observation, you see both are different. The potter uses the skill and intelligence, makes use of the clay. So the material cause is different, the instrumental cause is different. They are not one and the same. In Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti, what is he saying? I am the material cause and I am the instrumental. I am the material cause and I am the Upadana Karana and Nimitta Karana. I am both. The clay can never turn into a pot. Gold can never turn into an ornament. But here he is saying, I am both. But sir, raw material is different. The creator is different. How can all be the same? How can all be the same? Yatornanabhisrjate ghrannate cha. Mundakopanishad. Chapter 1, section 1, mantra 7. As the spider. There are some exceptions. It's a general rule. It's a general rule. What is the general rule? The general rule is material cause is different. The material cause is different. The skill and intelligence is different. Only when all combines, different factors combines, brings into a, is what? Creation happens. It means what? Brahman is separate. Raw materials are separate. And then there is the third one, something called the enlivening factor coming and enlivening that. Whom should I worship? Whom should I worship? What should I go? It looks like Vedanta. In the verse Vedanta was looking very, before we started this verse, it was looking very The Paraprakriti, Aparaprakriti, and solely the whole confusion has started. For which they know that this kind of questions will come, and you are supposed to ask these kind of questions, for which the answer is given. What is the answer? Yatornana visrujate grinnate cha prithivyaam oshadaya sambhavanti yata satah purushat keshalomani tataksharam sambhavatiha vishwam. Material cause and the nimitta, spider. It spits it out and takes it in. It spits it out and takes it in. Material came from where? Material came from the spider. Spider, material came from the spider. Who was weaving it? The spider itself. It came out of spider, and spider itself weaves it, and then it takes it back, and then it swallows it back. Similarly, the creation comes out of Brahman and stays there and goes back. This coming and going is my lower Prakriti. This coming and going is my lower Prakriti. And what is the higher Prakriti? Coming and going keeps happening, and the enlivening factor becomes the higher Prakriti. The fact that matter comes out of me, it never comes as dead matter. The fact that matter is coming out of me, it never comes out as dead matter. It comes out combined with consciousness. It comes out with consciousness. The fact that it is coming out with consciousness itself is divine. This is how we have to understand. Don't worry. As I said, I'll be starting with this same analysis only in the next class, because 4 and 5 combined is nothing but the ideas of the creation and what is the role of God in relation to creation. It's all taken from the Upanishads, and Krishna follows that. He is simply following that same sequence. And in these explanation, so many doubts will come. What they will do, if you comes up with the doubt, they will clarify that. If you don't come up with the doubt, they will plant the doubt and they will clarify it by themselves. Because here we are talking about the divine. What is it, the topic? What is the subject matter here? It's not about action. It's not about doing something. It's not about it, because for all that is left behind now. For all that is left behind. What are we discussing? We are discussing about the divine. And it has two names, the lower and the higher. The lower and the higher. The lower and the higher. In the 15th chapter, he will say, I am above the lower and the higher. So he goes on explaining the lower and the higher, the lower and the higher, the lower and the higher. And if you really follow and understand right up to chapter 12, you get a very clear understanding. Yes, it's like very, very clear. And then he said, and then from 13th chapter, he started segregating. That segregation is called Jnana Yoga, Vibhaga. Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yoga, 13th chapter. Guna, Traya, Vibhaga Yoga. Segregating. Ingellam combined. All that is combined here will be segregated there. And then in the 15th chapter, he says, I am beyond the two. Again, another vibhaga will start in the 16th chapter. Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga. Why do we say from chapter 13 to chapter 18 is knowledge? Because Vibhaga. Vibhaga means analytical, segregating it, breaking it up. What is the meaning of analysis? Analysis means breaking it up into parts. So, three types of breaking it up. Kshetra, Kshetrajna Vibhaga, Gunatraya Vibhaga, Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga. And then 18th chapter kind of he kinds of summarizes the entire thing. This is the lower Prakriti and the higher Prakriti, which we will continue in the next session also. So yeah, with this we conclude. Anything? Okay.
So there's one.
Rajshekhar has posted.
Rajshekhar has posted. What has he posted? Read it out, Rajshekhar. I don't know where to go and search for this post. Under what circumstances the following conditions are to be considered? Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. In a way, matter is also God, but when people look at matter, they don't see God. Rajshekhar. For one, wait panunga. Yeah, let's wait for a week. We are going to take up all this because all this becomes the natural. All this becomes the natural thing. So under what circumstances following conditions are to be considered? But I'll quickly answer it now also. Illana sir answer theriyadu. He's taking time to find the answer out, and my reputation will go away. Yeah. And I'm worried about keeping my. I'm worried about keeping my reputation. So, Brahma Satyam and Jagat Mithya. When you are seeing a Jagat, when you are seeing the world, before going into seeing the world as Mithya, how everything in the world is divine, that has to be understood first. Without understanding how everything in the world is divine, you can never go to the understanding of it is Mithya. So first is to understand the world as divine, and then we understand the way in which you see the world and restrict divinity only to the world. You don't do it. So first is you see the world. And you can't straight away see it as Mithya. So first, in order to graduate it to see it as Mithya, you got to see it as, you got to learn to see it as divine, and then the knowledge will tell you how to view it as Mithya. Straight away you can't view it as Mithya. If straight away we can view it as Mithya, the statement Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya would have made us understood it. So yeah, you follow Rajshekhar? 2. In a way, matter is also God from the standpoint of matter. From the standpoint of matter, when you look at it, matter is also God. Why matter is also God? For all that exists is only, what is the theorem? For all that exists is only Brahman. Since all that exists is only Brahman, matter also is Brahman. All this we are discussing from the relative standpoint of seeing the world, not from the enlightened standpoint. Are you able to follow the context, Rajshekhar?
Yes, sir.
Chapter 7 and chapter 12 varaikum, the context is not the enlightened person's context. We are seeing all this discussion happens from the context of keep us as the context. And we'll try to understand this keeping us as the context. Then all this becomes easy to follow. Is it okay, Rajshekhar?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. We will take it up. We will all these questions, just have some patience. We will we'll explore. Next class, we are going to do all that in detail. Yeah. Yes. Next one.
Yeah.
Ah.
So I have an observation.
Yes.
And before I make this observation, first of all, thank you for another wonderful day. It was so good. And my observation relates to the comment that what you discussed about Mano Buddhi, that finally the intellect taking over and intellect guiding. So that leads me to think, initially we need the mind and intelligence, mind too.
Yes. Yes.
And all the way right up to the point of realization, then we don't require it anymore.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's useful at a point in time for us to progress and come to that stage.
Correct.
I just wanted to have
Exactly.
that,
Very correct. It is needed. It is like the pole vaulter. It is like the pole.
Vault, yeah. And also you made that comment on
Yes.
the Kataka powder in
Yes.
Atmabodha.
Correct.
How
It is needed.
carries the dirt and goes
Exactly.
behind.
Exactly. It is needed. That is why at the relative level, we place a lot of emphasis on the intellect.
Intellect
Because the pole is the intellect that lifts you up.
lifts you up.
Yes, at one point of time, I have to drop it. What I mean intellect here is in a very loose terms. I'm using the word intellect. It is the pole that lifts you. It is the pole that lifts you up.
Yes.
But I can't be grateful to the pole and carry the pole also.
Also.
Yeah. With gratitude, I drop the pole.
Yeah, right.
Isn't it?
Yes. Thank you.
Is it okay, Venkatachala?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So one more, sir. Mrs. Mala Venkateshan.
Yes, Mala. Chalunga.
Namaskaram, sir. Sir, some time ago, I asked a question about why wise men suffer in terms of health issues or etc. towards their end. And you did say that though they are wise, their karma still needs to be spent. Everyone goes through the karma. So in that context, I was just thinking, even Lord Krishna did go through, suffering throughout his life. Particularly the end, he suffered by the arrow of somebody in a freak accident or whatever. I call it as a suffering. So is he also suffering because of his karma? Because God doesn't have karma. So I'm a bit confused because karma is only for men.
Consciousness doesn't have karma. Consciousness doesn't have karma. And you answered it, Mala. Suffering is what you are seeing. You are seeing it. You answered it already. You are seeing it as suffering. Krishna never was suffering. He was always smiling. He always comes with his laughter. He always comes with the dance. He always comes with the music. He always comes with the flute. He was never suffering. Wise man never suffers. The instrument goes through the instrument experiences which we call it as suffering. You are correct. Everyone follow? They don't suffer at all. They'll say, what is it? Because they don't know the spelling of suffering. But we see the instruments experiencing a few because of our dvesha towards those kind of experiences. We call it as suffering. So suffering is a perception through raga dvesha. Able to follow? Mala. Everybody clear?
And what is the message?
Suffering is a perception through raga dvesha, because you have a dvesha towards some experiences and you believe that those experiences should not happen at all. And when they are going through those experiences because of my dvesha, I call it as suffering. And then the question is, why are they suffering? They don't. Is it okay, Mala?
And what is the message then do they give by means of such a, even though they don't experience the suffering, but what is the message they give?
There is no message. They say the instruments experiencing. There's no message there. There's no message there. They say the instruments are experiencing. Why are you bothered about why are you worried about what my instruments are experiencing? Focus on what I am. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Worry about that. Don't worry about what my instruments are experiencing. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. Or never try to understand through the instruments. If you try to understand through the instruments, you will have a problem. Because instruments, you will perceive the instruments through the glass of Ragadvesha. What should be done, what should not be done. And then also some will perceive it through dharma. What Krishna did is adharma, no sir. Okay, they have made mistakes. But he should have, instead of giving Bhagavad Gita discourse to Arjuna, you should have given Bhagavad Gita discourse to Duryodhana and the Kauravas and all of them, and he should have helped them more instead of simply saying murder them, slaughter them. He should have given them a chance, one more chance. Human Rights Commission will come and file a case against. The first case will be filed against whom? Human Rights Commission vanda first case will be filed against Subramaniam. Yaar mela first case varum? Krishna mela dhan first case varum. Because you being that one, you should have done this, you should have done so, and he has to sit and answer all this. So all this we see through our prism of Raga, Dvesha and Dharma. And wise person, you will completely misunderstand if you see them through the prism of your Raga, Dvesha and your Dharma. Never do that mistake when it comes to wise men. Women also. Yeah, why only men? Wise men and wise women. All can kuda solla kudadu illaya. Aduve that is very what is that called? It's not race. It is not racist. It is genderist. Sexist. Also, why also? Why not say women become wise and men also? So, person, never judge the wise person through the prism of your Raga, Dvesha and your Dharma. Never view them through that. Because they experience, they don't have this Raga, Dvesha or whatever we understand as the right and wrong, good and bad, morals and ethics, etc. You don't see them through that. You say, I just don't understand, and you just leave it at that. If you consider them wise, the proper way, this is how the Sishya works. This is how the disciple does. Sishya is one who says, I cannot or I don't understand why wise person does what he ought to, why he does what he ought to do. Somebody kept a gold coin under the pillow of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Now, what difference does it make whether you put a gold or a copper under his bed? All are metals, no? In that room, there are so many metals in that room. There is the copper, there is the iron, gold is another metal. Now, but then he pretended as though he was very much affected and all that. Burning. Not for him. He had no, but that is the way that student gets. That is the way the student understands that it is the message for that particular student, not to come and drum it to the whole world and and create a total confusion about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, the Guru and the Shishya. Are you able to follow, Mala? See, it's a very ordinary, even at our level, you keep a gold under your pillow, you will sleep peacefully, no? But at our level, we will not get so excited. And why is he saying my body is burning, my skin is burning, I can't sleep, I couldn't sleep and all that? Are you able to follow? but then there is a specific message for that specific student. And that should not be come and drummed into the whole world. அதுதான் அந்த கூகுள்லாம் பண்ணவே கூடாதுன்றது அதுக்குதான் இல்லையா? They do not know what to say, what not to say. They'll just come and drum the whole thing for when something specifically is done. Are you able to follow? Otherwise, it looks like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is having such a what do you say? One metal can affect him where other metals can't affect him. He's sleeping on the iron bed or he's sleeping on the wooden bed, that didn't affect him. That wooden bed is screwed with iron, that didn't affect him. The bolt is copper, that didn't affect him. The plate that he is eating is another, that didn't affect him. Why only one metal has to affect him so much? Wow. So wise person means should not wear gold after that, isn't it? So anybody who wears gold after that becomes bad. Huh? How do we conclude all this? Are you able to follow? Therefore, never try to understand, assess the wise person through our prism of Raga, Dvesha and Dharma. Did I answer you, Mala?
Sure, it did.
Yeah.
It did.
One more clarification and we conclude. Yes.
So Rajshekharoda grade is was he wanting to know whether I should say temporary as temporary? Is that what he was wanting to know?
No. She's asking a clarification about Rajshekhar's question. Rajshekhar's question is, under what circumstances the following conditions are to be considered? Brahma Satyam and Jagat Mithya. First condition. First statement is Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya.
What is he wanting to know?
He is saying, if you say Jagat is the Mithya, matter came out of Brahman. Here he is saying all the elements came out of me. How can that be? If it has come out of me, how can that be called Mithya? That's why I said be patient for a week. Be patient. Answers will come. Be patient. Nothing will, in a week, nothing will happen. Yeah. Even if Punarjanma happens, better Guru will come. Yeah. Are you able to follow? Second question is asking, in a way, matter is also God, but when people look at matter, they don't see God. Why they don't see God? Because they don't know matter is God. They don't know. When they see matter, why they don't see God? Because they don't know that it is God. If they know that it is God, they will see God. They are seeing this is different, God is different. They don't know that this is also God. So first thing that he is saying is this is also God. Are you able to follow? It's not different from it. But if you say this is God, then your entire notion will be matter is God. Then you will say matter is God. No. It is apara prakriti. And distinct and different from this apara prakriti is my para prakriti. Two things. We'll continue with this analysis because this basic analysis is very important for us to follow. What he is going to say, at least in these few chapters, this is very important. With this, we conclude for